Friday, May 4th, 2001. The sun was shining. The Twin Towers still stood. But come nightfall, life would never be the same for Hollywood star Robert Blake. His wife, Bonny Lee Bakley, was shot dead in Studio City, California. That's today on Death in Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details
That has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death
In
Entertainment.
What's going on, deados and deado heads out there in the world?
Oh my God.
We're talking to you.
We are returning here. We are back.
Yes. Thank you guys for signing up for the Patreon. We got, a couple people out here. Macklin McGloogie, Rebecca Elgood, first two to rush.
Yeah, it's the hottest list in Hollywood right now.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. We love you. My name is Kyle Ploof.
My name is Mark Mulkerron.
And I'm Alejandro Dowling.
And today we get into the crazy story of Mr. Robert Blake and the murder of his second wife, Bonny Lee Bakley.
Is it a crazy story? I didn't know. I thought it was pretty tame.
Yeah, pretty tame.
I don't know much of the details yet.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Classic case of former child star kills wife.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That old tale.
We have to throw in the allegedly part.
Yeah.
It's only the biggest true crime story in Hollywood.
Bum, bum, bum.
In the bitch.
Yeah.
Was this one done in time actually for AJ Benza to do that show on it? I don't think so.
I don't know if he did it.
I
Yeah.
think he was done by then.
I think so, yeah.
Because he had a short-lived talk show after Mysteries and Scandals.
So this is the first true crime show about this murder.
Ooh, that's probably not true.
That's probably not true, but why can't I just say stuff like
Since he died.
Yes. Yes.
that? All right.
First true crime show about this murder in this room today.
Yeah, a couple qualifiers, but we'll take it. So the first true crime. So therefore my statement stands.
Yeah. We will take that, and we will also take our asses to May 4th, 2001. Okay, pop culture flash for May 4th, 2001 in the world of movies. Mark, please tell us what's going on.
Let me help you out there. So 2001, May 4th, number 3 movie at this time is Bridget Jones' Diary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Renee Zellweger.
Based on the hit novel by Helen Fielding. 2 million copies are sold of this.
Wow. This is when Renee Zellweger had her original face.
Wow.
Yeah.
They
Which we've discussed before.
They recast her face.
Yeah.
Which is, people go through changes. David Bowie went through changes.
That's true.
Everyone changes, okay?
And the gimmick for this movie and the book, actually, it's about, I don't know how to put this delicately, but it's about a neurotic fat chick who smokes.
Oh,
hey,
God. Okay.
Right up my alley.
I mean, I'd argue with you there about, but that's literally the log line of the movie. That's the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And she received an Oscar nomination for it.
Yeah.
What?
The
Wow.
typical gain some weight for a role and you get nominated.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser, let's go.
Yeah,
That wasn't even real weight.
Yeah.
Right? That's unfair.
Yeah, fat suit.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was a fat suit.
I mean, that would be insane if that was real weight. Now that I even think about it for half a second, like, why'd I even say that? That would be insane.
Yeah.
If he did De Niro'd that.
Yeah.
De Niro would have gained the weight.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be a whale. I'm going to be a whale, okay? Can you milk me?
This week on my 600-pound life.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro.
Pretty good. Number 2, movies at this time. Driven.
Oh, I'm going to drive a car.
Oh, is that with Stallone?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yo, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian, hit me up on my next toe.
Hey, look, I'm in the car now. I'm not in the ring anymore. I'm in the car now.
Bro.
Yeah, I'm driven. Hey, who driven here? The film was a flop. Even though it's number 2, it was still considered a flop.
Big
Wow.
time.
Yeah, it got Ant-Man and the Wasp all over the place. This one. It grossed $54 million worldwide on a $94 million budget.
Yeah, that's not good.
Stallone said he wishes he had not made the film.
Wow.
Could have done a bit something else. Dude.
What a hot take.
Yeah.
A movie flops. He wishes he didn't make it.
Yeah, what a bold statement.
Should have pumped the brakes.
Yeah, he's got some balls.
Yeah, you should hit the brakes on that.
Drive this.
On that log line.
Number 1 movie at this time, The Mummy Returns.
Yes.
Ooh, and
Speaking of Brendan Fraser.
we're returning to Brendan Fraser.
I
Yeah.
know. First appearance of The Rock as the Scorpion King.
The worst CGI that's ever been in a film.
Some would say that.
Yeah.
We have the photo up here, and it looks like a character from Nintendo 64
Yeah. It is not good.
or Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Let's
like
go lower.
I like when the post team just gives up on a movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought like when this happened, The Rock was like really trying to make his transition from wrestling to mainstream films, obviously.
I believe it was his first movie.
Yes. And when I saw that, I was like, his career is over. This is
That's
done.
not his fault though. That's
It's-
that's the post effects team that's putting that crap together.
That's true, but I was like, this is going to be such a mockery that people are going to be like, we don't want to deal with this guy.
but
And then he
deal
goes-
with it. It's not like he's a tough person to deal with because he got bad CG done of him. What are you talking about?
We didn't like your CGI.
Yeah.
we found out in the past like you hate things for like irrational reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most
100%.
people saw the movie. It looked shitty at the end, but they didn't really care.
Yeah, you got what you had anticipated.
Yeah.
A dumb movie. So
All right.
yeah, I think we figured it out. Let's go over to the music at this time. Alejandro?
Okay, and may I say, I believe this was before May 4th became Star Wars Day.
Ooh,
I forgot
may the
about
fourth
that.
be with you.
Yeah. Because at that time, The Phantom Menace was the most recent movie.
Oh,
and
right.
everybody hated it.
Yeah.
Still had a sour taste in people's mouths.
Okay, so music. Number 3, Thank You, Dido. Thank you, Dido, for making this song.
Yeah.
This
We got 2 songs out of it.
spent 3 weeks at number 3. How do you like them apples?
Hey.
First appeared in the movie Sliding Doors with recent victor Gwyneth Paltrow.
Was Affleck in that too?
No, this
Okay.
is the one where she plays 2 characters and it's like 2 worlds.
2 different
I'm not gonna
realities.
get into
Yeah,
it.
It's the metaverse. It's
So that was back in '98 when the song came on the scene, and then it took until 2001 to hit number 3 on the charts.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Eminem sampled it in his song "Stan."
Yes.
that was in '99 where he did that, right?
2000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she played Devon Sawa's girlfriend in the video, Dido. And then, of course, Elton John stole her thunder at the Grammys and sang her part with Eminem.
Oh yeah.
Then they fucked.
What, Elton and Eminem?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I hope so.
Because it was at the height of when he was considered homophobic
Yeah, it's
for his
homophobic
lyrics.
language.
And then Elton's like, he's not homophobic, and then performed with them, and they hugged.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Survivor, Destiny's Child, with Beyonce and the other 2.
Yeah. before the dad's like, hey, Beyonce, well, let's get rid of these 2 other girls.
The dead weight.
Yeah, they were dead weight.
I know.
They were basically backup singers. Let's be honest here.
But one of them was in Kyle's favorite movie.
Freddy vs. Jason came out on my birthday. I know we've talked about my birthday a
with
million
Kelly
times.
Rowland?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It came out the fucking day I turned old enough to see rated R movies by myself.
Okay, I hate to cut you off, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
sad. Very sad.
I'm
Saw it
going
3 times the first day.
going to number 1 right now.
There we go.
All for You, Janet Jackson.
It's all for you.
That was a big song that summer. It was on the charts a while. And based on this picture for the single, she looks more than half naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Which-
kind of her MO.
Well, when you think about it, she got so much shit for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's like half her career she's been naked. What
Yeah.
was the big deal?
Yeah, I
We've
thi-
all seen it already.
I think your direct quote was when Justin Timberlake ripped her tit off.
Yeah. yeah.
That would have been a crazier story.
Yeah. If it actually got detached from the body. That would have been like fucking Frankenstein shit.
Yeah, the implant
Yeah.
flies off.
It's directed by Ari Aster, halftime show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
And all of us.
All of us. All right, Mr. Robert Blake. He was born. His name was very different. We've talked about this before with certain stars. It's a lot of stage names out there.
Yeah.
You would never be able to guess what his name was because it's not even close to Robert Blake. His name was Michael James Gubitosi.
Gubitosi.
Gubitosi. Yeah.
That sounds like a disease from the 30s or something.
He died of
Gubitosi.
chronic gubitosi.
Hey, don't get that gubitosi, you say? Want a paper?
It's just a mild case of gubitosi.
Gubitosi, go across the nation. Read all about it here.
Or it sounds like a crappy Italian meal.
Yeah.
Hey, pass over the gubitosi.
Hey, I'll have the steak gubitosi.
Hey, boss, I'm really backed up from this gubitosi.
This gobbly gubitosi over here. Hey.
I got to call out sick for mob work.
Hey. If he knew what he was doing, he'd be fucking Guido Gubitosi. That would be fucking
That'd
a great
be great.
name.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
That writes itself.
Guido Gubitosi.
Yeah.
You know how many roles he could have played on The Sopranos?
Every one
all
of
of
them.
them, yeah.
It'd be like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nutty Professor scene, the dinner scene.
Aha.
And he even could have played the mom when they had to do the CGI after she died.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So he was born September 18th, 1933 in Nutley, New Jersey, which, he credits September 18th. He never had like a birth certificate to go off of. In a 2011 interview, he stated that he really doesn't know when he was actually born, but he believes his birthday fell sometime in September or October of 1933.
I have a hot theory. I think maybe just to get some of the child roles that he was like wanted or needed when he was a kid, and just like he wanted to keep his birthday a mystery so he could get certain roles.
Ooh.
I knew kids I played Little League with that you didn't know exactly when they were born.
They had a mustache at age 7.
Fucking Danny Almonte. That was a kid. He was like from the Dominican or Cuba or something, and they said he didn't have a birth certificate, and he was striking everyone out. They're like, this kid's going to be a pro. He was fucking like 18 years old, and that's why he was striking out 12-year-olds at the Little League World Series.
I wish I did that.
He's like, hey, I'm up next.
Yeah. His kids in the audience. Like, come on, Dad.
He's spitting tobacco on the ground.
Robert Blake, he had an interesting childhood. His parents were actually vaudeville performers.
Hello, my lady.
Hello, my darling.
Hello, my weird kid.
So he spent his childhood until he was 6 years old performing with his family's vaudeville act. During his childhood, Blake moved with his family to Hollywood, California, where he ended up working as an extra for MGM Studios. I think the plan was for the parents to try to get movie roles and stuff, but they just didn't.
Yeah.
They're like, you lack talent.
Yeah.
Well,
But your kid, he's got something.
Yeah.
He's got spunk.
That kid Gallardi, or whatever his name is.
Gubitosi.
Gubitosi, yeah. No, but it the parents age like Robert Blake did. I could see why Hollywood's like, yeah, I think we're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Blake was the good-looking version of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
What's the bad-looking version of that? That gene line.
At 6 years old, he got a starring role for Our Gang, which is a series of shorts that later became known as the Little Rascals. He starred as Mickey, and at that time, he changed his acting name to Bobby Blake.
Okay, so we're working towards Robert Blake at some point.
Bobby Blake.
I'm Bobby Blake, okay?
That's a great child actor name.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Bobby Blake.
It's no Guido Gubitosi, but it's something.
Yeah.
Like many of our stories, we've talked about this before. Would you believe me if I told you his dad was an asshole?
Yeah, probably. But if it's coming from him, though, it's one asshole calling an asshole.
Hey,
So-
calling the kettle an asshole.
Exactly.
But at this point, Bobby Blake is an innocent kid.
Yeah,
yeah, I guess so.
yeah. Being
Assuming he's a kid. We don't know his real kid.
He was born in
He's
1915.
22 years old.
yeah, he's like Hasbullah. He actually experienced a horrible time growing up. suffering physical abuse from his dad and being introduced to liquor and cigarettes at a very young age.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not liquor and cigarettes.
At 6?
Mark, what's wrong with you?
I didn't know it was 6. I
That's
thought it was-
horrible. Same thing happened to Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
See,
the
that
set of E.T., she was like smoking Marlboros and chugging
It's her
40s.
and Spielberg just ashing into like the same ashtray. So what do you think of the movie?
Yeah. So it was crazy because like people thought like, oh, these innocent little kids like playing the Little Rascals. That set was like so toxic. All those kids became like drug addicts and alcoholics. The way they were worked, and I think you were saying before that they were actually like made to drink to like stunt their growth.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think they did that with like the band Menudo and stuff.
my
Like
God.
a lot of these where there's like a incentive for them to stay young, like they are trying to, hint, have some cigarettes or
Yeah.
And Ricky Martin turned out okay,
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
boy.
except for the whole
Those charges were dropped.
doing
okay?
his nephew thing.
So were his
Yeah.
nephew's pants.
Yeah, he bangs his nephew.
Ooh, boy.
Okay.
Yikes.
Boy, living La Vida Loca over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently they're trying to pickle these kids with like whiskey and cigarettes.
Pickle.
That's so
Yeah,
disturbing.
Keep them small.
Oh,
Wrinkle
okay.
them up.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, did you
Not
really
getting
need
better.
to,
I don't know.
him to elaborate?
I don't
that?
know why I even asked.
But it seemed to happen to a lot of the original Little Rascals. Like Carl Switzer was the original kid who played Alfalfa.
And that's like the main character.
Yeah.
He had that hair
Yeah, the hair
sticking
that's
out.
stuck up in the back.
Yeah.
He was extremely troubled as a kid, and he would show up to the set drunk before he was 12 years old. So,
Holy shit.
yeah. It's going to be a future episode, by the way. If you like the Power Rangers episode, boy, the Little Rascals episode is going
Yeah.
to blow that out of the water.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this set, I bet.
Yeah.
And AJ Benza nicknamed him.
Pint-sized Dirty Harry.
I mean, come on, that's
Yeah.
an episode.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, there's a little spoiler alert to, tease you to listen. But little Alfalfa was murdered later in life.
Oh, my Lord.
Bum, bum, bum. But moving on to Robert Blake.
Okay, anyway.
During his teen years, he landed a lead part in this drama Moki in 1942. Big movie. And then he had a starring role in the Red Ryder Western series.
He also played the younger version of actor John Garfield in a movie called Humoresque.
Ooh.
And John Garfield gave him a quote that he would recite this till the end of his life. This was like his mantra. And the quote is, "Life is a rehearsal. Your performance is real."
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh,
Imagine
yeah.
telling that to a little kid.
Yeah. Like, so my life really means nothing.
Yeah. Imagine screaming that at Piers Morgan after you murdered somebody.
Yeah, he said that in the interview,
He
didn't
did.
he?
Yes. Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Oh, okay.
By the mid-1950s, he was really turning to dramas, like getting away from comedy. He was doing TV work in small parts in films like Apache War Smoke in 1952,
Another banger.
Screaming Eagles in 1956, The Rack.
Whoa, hey,
hey.
Let's keep it kid-friendly here.
Titties over here.
Was it the Playboy Channel?
Yeah. Three Violent People, 1957. That's just the top three Little Rascals.
Did he play all the roles in that one?
And The Purple Gang in 1960. So by the end of the 50s, Robert had starred in more than 70 films and television roles. 70. Insane.
Man.
We were talking about that in the William Desmond Taylor episode.
Yeah.
That they would just knock those movies out really fast
Yeah.
back in the day.
But, like, did Robert Blake, did he ever say no? Like, I'm not going to do this? Or he just kept working, huh?
Why would you?
Do child actors know to say no to movie roles?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you have an abusive dad that's like pissed off that you're getting roles, but you're bringing in the bacon, so you got no choice.
Yeah.
And
Would
he-
you rather be drinking on set or be at home getting kicked around by your fucking asshole dad?
No way. That was
Yeah,
the
it's
only
Close.
time.
But
Let me think about that.
yeah, what's he wearing on his foot?
I think that was the only time that he received love.
Yeah.
on the
His
set.
and adoration is when he was in front of the camera
But when you're
because
a
he wasn't getting it at home.
When
Yeah.
you're a kid actor, like that's when you're getting all the attention in the world. You're the most important person there. Like you have your names on the chair and on your own, room and stuff, and
Like Quiz Kid Donnie
like
Smith
yeah, exactly.
from Magnolia.
Yeah, that William H Macy's character,
And then
as
he's
a kid.
Sad
Yeah.
sack middle-aged guy.
He's hanging out down the street here at Foxfire Magnolia, trying to fuck some bartender guy.
he got braces to impress him.
yeah.
Oy vey.
Yeah. During the 60s, Blake landed more noticeable roles, including the World War II adventure PT-109 in 1963.
Which is based on the story of John F. Kennedy.
Crazy. Like when he was
Yeah.
younger in the military.
Yeah. When he was, he signed up for World War II, and he actually, not like one of those rich kids that actually, just didn't see any action like George W. Bush. He actually was in a PT boat, which is the boats that they had in the Pacific theater of World War II there, and he helped save like 10 of his colleagues or comrades or whatever.
This is crazy to me. I mean, I took history when I was a kid, but I didn't realize
Oh, really?
he was actually.
Wait, back up. Rewind.
You took the non-elective course of history when you were a kid.
They forced me to take history class.
But I didn't realize JFK was actually in World War II.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What war did you think he was in?
I didn't think
Iraq?
he was in any wars.
Yeah.
They're politicians.
Civil
They're
War?
fucking Kennedys.
He thought he was Lincoln.
They're fucking bootleggers. They're rich as fuck. They don't have to do anything.
I'm going to free the slaves.
Yeah, what do you think it was in Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
Yeah. God, that'd be so much better. Come with me if you want to live.
Then he gets shot right after that.
Are you John Connor? A little thing I wanted to mention, Kyle, before we move forward here. Robert's dad dies by suicide in 1956. So a couple of years before this, his dad actually does die. And Robert ran away from home at age 14.
Yeah.
So he's like just living on his own as a child actor, like roaming the streets of Los Angeles or something. His dad dies by suicide in 1956. Like he's basically all alone by the time he's 14 years
How
old.
traumatic.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And Phil Spector's dad also killed himself, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Man, these are crazy. Crazy times.
Crazy time.
And that's not the only parallel, which I know you'll get into later.
Absolutely.
Between Spector and Blake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a very Diepod universe heavy episode.
Oh, perfect.
In 1967, Blake starred in the popular murder drama In Cold Blood, a film based on Truman Capote's
Oh, yeah, this one.
book of the same name.
Yeah. This is not with the Philip Seymour Hoffman one. Actually, which is a...
Well, this is another Diepod
Speaking
spin.
of Diepod crossover, we just did them.
Amazing
Absolutely.
performance in Capote.
Yeah,
the
but
movie.
But this was the original movie based on the book by Truman Capote.
And I bet you are wondering if Robert Blake had a Capote impression.
Hey.
I bet he seems like he does.
All right. Well, I will get right to it.
Please do.
Hello, Robert. Hi, this is Truman. Like I didn't know who the hell it was, right?
Yeah, right.
Truman, where are you? I don't know where I am, but there's an ocean, and people have gowns on. I think I'm in the Principality somewhere. And we talked for hours.
We talked for hours.
Because he says that he didn't meet Capote while making the movie. They met afterwards, and they became dear friends.
I bet you Capote's like, I don't know who that man is.
Who the fuck are you?
And the insane part is Truman Capote would have been fascinated by Robert Blake's later life.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Didn't live to see it.
His later work.
His later work. Robert, did you really kill your wife?
Robert, you got away with you.
Yeah. I like. What's the name of that restaurant where you killed your wife?
Blake at this time received crazy critical acclaim for the portrayal of the homicidal drifter Perry Smith in this film, In Cold Blood. So
Huge role, huge movie, catapulted him
Still was a
to
TV
another league.
Still was
Yeah.
a TV movie, but it was like a good one.
I don't think it was a TV
Oh,
movie.
really?
Yeah.
This was actually an official release.
yeah,
This
Never
was in
mind.
theaters.
I delete that then.
yes, Strike that from the record.
Strike that from the record.
Let the record show.
Yeah, let the record show this picture of Robert Blake on the show Beretta, where he became the lead actor in pretty much, you were saying, I believe, it's the first anti-hero, like, cop drama.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was the bad cop in that?
Yeah, he was like, yeah.
He's like the Vic Mackey from The Shield kind of thing? Yeah.
Not necessarily bad, but he would use questionable tactics
bend the
to
rules.
get what he needed,
He's
find the evidence.
He's the tip of the spear. He's a tough guy, but he gets the job done.
Yeah. And this cemented his tough guy persona.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think he, cultivated that over the years.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. But at this time, he was doing Beretta, which was one of the top shows for a few years.
Yeah.
And then he was also doing like over 100 appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
There's like a history of that now, like former child actors that want to be like tough guy, like gritty, like TV actors later on, like Ricky Schroeder. Remember him?
Oh, yeah. He was a little cute child actor.
Yeah,
for
and then
a
he wanted
while.
to be like a badass. Was he on NYPD Blue or
Yep.
something?
I think he took over for David Caruso.
Yeah.
When Caruso thought he was bigger than the show.
And he like would never look at the camera or anywhere else.
The South Park premiere episode had a big joke on that where they're like, do an impression of David Caruso's career. Then the baby just jumps
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the ground like, woo!
Yeah, he thought he was gonna be a hot shit. Like, why? First of all, the first question to me is, why is this Italian guy have red hair? If you can get over that, he could have been a bigger star. I think.
Italian ginger.
Yeah, it never made any sense to me.
Yeah, so for some reason, like you said, Robert Blake wanted to be Mr. Tough Guy.
Yeah.
And he later claimed when it was convenient for him to do so that it was all an act. It was just, all his stories were embellished. And
Yeah, he wasn't a tough guy. He was, he'd never hurt a fly.
All of his Carson appearances do not look good for what comes later in his life.
Really?
Which is a possible murder that he committed. Because every time he would go on, he'd be like, I got to go back to therapy because, I'm just a hothead, man. Like, I got
really?
rage. And would just, like, brag about how crazy he was.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Johnny, you've been divorced a couple times. You ever just want to strangle your wife?
Yeah, exactly.
he would say things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite so extreme. But
But on that level. Like,
But I think he also wanted to be entertaining on that show, too. He wanted Johnny to keep having him back.
Yeah.
Which is like, why would Johnny even have him on?
But he was also a horrible interview. Like, he would not answer questions. He'd look around at, like, the studio and be like, oh, what's going on with that? Like, just not answering shit. And just
argumentative.
Be weird. And argumentative,
and
yeah.
weird, yeah.
And then they finally swapped seats. And because he was saying, like, I'd like to have your job at some point. And Johnny's like, by all means, let's switch. And then he's like, oh, so Johnny, how'd you get to be such a funny guy? And then he just fucking takes out a cigarette and is just looking around, like, won't answer the question.
It's like, I got it. I got the bit, Johnny.
Yeah. And then he turns to him. He's like, not so easy, is it? Yeah. So Beretta lasted for 3 years. I thought it was way longer than that because that's how people remember him. It was only on from 75 to 78.
If a show goes for 3 years now, that's like a failure, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. He won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama the first year in 1975. And by this time, Blake had also become known for his often volatile behavior, which, he showed a little bit of on the Carson show, but people were hearing crazy things behind the scenes, too.
Yeah.
I have an example of that,
Yes,
too.
you do.
Robert Blake hosted Saturday Night Live in the early 80s during the Dick Ebersol era.
That sounds like a crazy episode.
When Eddie Murphy was the big star.
Yeah.
And so Robert Blake is in the writer's room with one of the cast members named Gary Kroger. The household name,
Classic.
Gary Kroger.
That could have been Kroger inspired by the Seinfeld boss name.
Or the supermarket.
Or the supermarket. Who knows?
He's a cashier there.
Did well for himself. So they're in the writer's room. Kroger comes up with a sketch called The Breezy Philosopher, which the gist is it's like a tough biker guy who reads poetry to the students.
Hilarious.
Classic.
And so then Robert Blake looks at Gary Kroger in the eyes, dead on, and says, I hope you have a tough asshole, pal, because you're going to have to wipe your ass with that one. And then he takes the sketch, crumples it up, throws it at Gary, and it bounces off Gary's forehead.
Wow.
I think he comes from a time where the like shitting on writers and like abusing them verbally was the norm in Hollywood.
Yeah, a lot of lead actors would like fight for their persona that they wanted to, and they still do. Like they fight to have like themselves come out on top and look better, so it like embellishes their brand off stage
by
camera.
Intimidating these kind of like squirrely, cowardly writers. That's how you do it.
We talked about that on the Charles Rocket episode too.
Yeah,
the way some of these writers were treated.
Yeah, horribly.
Yeah.
They have to work there, like 12, 13 hours or something, or like they have to bust their ass. Those like 4 very important days on the lead up to the Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
But it's also like, okay, so the sketch is stupid, no big deal. Like, why are you throwing things at people?
Yeah, no shit.
Well, he thought he was a hotshot. Maybe he's like, I'm doing SNL. I'm on the rebound back. I'm allowed to be shitty to people because I think that's it. That's what he learned. You're allowed to be shitty to people if you're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's almost like preferred. I feel like you get better results from people if you're like such a sociopath, like piece of shit behind the scenes.
That worked for Roseanne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't work so well for other people.
Yeah,
until it didn't. Until she tweeted about Valerie Jarrett.
I thought the bitch was white. Yeah, in all caps. No, but I recently heard that one of the original like EPs or showrunners of Roseanne. And he wrote a letter to the studio why he was quitting. He said he was going to he's going to live a quieter life in the streets of Beirut because that's when there was like a current war going on. So
that's hilarious.
So like I think everyone, it was like an inside known that it was a disaster. So
100%.
And I'm going to take a holiday at the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Norm Macdonald said that she put like numbers on their back and would say like 18, you're out of here.
Oh my God! It's like a cattle call.
Terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Blake thought he could do that. He did that on Beretta.
Yeah.
Berated the writers and asked for better scripts, demanded them, and he was carrying on like this until people realized, you know what, you're not such a hotshot anymore.
No, he berated them.
Hello. His later career, he subsequently appeared in a slew of TV miniseries and special movie projects during the 80s and 90s, including Of Mice and Men, in which Lenny chokes a fucking person to death by accident.
Wait, is he the choker? Or
No.
Was he the...
No, he's not big enough.
He
He's only like
lieutenant?
5'1".
Yeah, that's
Lenny's
true.
like fucking 6'10".
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense.
It's based obviously on the novel by John Steinbeck. In 1983's Blood Feud, a dramatized account of RFK's pursuit of corrupt labor organizer Jimmy Hoffa, he played Hoffa.
Really?
Solidarity!
And
ooh-ah!
yeah, we'll have to see how it stands against
I'm organizing here.
Pacino.
You got a great union!
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm 45.
I'm a Teamster. I'm not 88 at all.
I'm a young guy, even though I have a walker.
I've been de-aged! Barely!
Yeah. You got your head all the way up it.
Yep. So we're going to have to, compare those two versions of Hoffa. He actually got an Emmy nomination for it. So didn't win, but got the nod. And then after that, for the next 10 years, he withdrew from Hollywood. That was it. That was like his 3-point shot. Gone.
I don't know if that's really a 3-point shot.
Nailed Hoffa, got the Emmy nomination, and was like, fuck everybody, I'm out.
Yeah, it's like a deep 2. Like, yeah.
It's not like it was Rain Man.
From the field.
Yeah.
Did he have enough money to, get away from Hollywood for a while? Is that what was going on?
You would think so.
He claimed he had about $25 million in the bank.
Really?
Before the trial.
Yeah. In 1993, so a full decade later, he staged an unlikely comeback, receiving another Emmy nomination for his performance of New Jersey accountant turned mass murderer in the TV drama Judgment Day, the John List story.
What?
Which you can't use Judgment Day right after T2 comes out.
That's definitely some marketing whiz is like, let's throw this in there so people get confused.
Yeah.
It's such a slimy, scummy thing to do.
It
Where's
works.
the robots?
Apparently, people get tricked.
Because it's at Blockbuster, which is still booming at that time, and someone's like, "Hey, honey, let's get Judgment Day. I heard that's good."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you were thinking of,
Because they
right?
think, they saw it somewhere, so it feels familiar.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like Total Recall.
Yeah,
the
it's like-
story of Helen Keller.
That's fucking hilarious.
But she has really good memory.
It has nothing to do with the actual story.
Blake ended up going to film after that, landing supporting roles in a movie that we've already talked about, Money Train, in 1995 with Jennifer Lopez and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
In the role that Dennis Hopper would have gotten.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Keep it over 50, hot shot. That was not a good Dennis Hopper.
But that was it was someone. I don't know who it
We
is,
were
though.
just going to let it slide and move on.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
I tried.
But it was like White Men Can't Jump, but now they're on trains.
Oh, nice.
White men can't ride trains.
Yeah. Can't rail.
Movie produced by John Peters, who was immortalized in the movie Licorice Pizza as a maniac.
Yes.
As Bradley Cooper.
Another hothead, for sure.
Yeah, and you know how he tested Robert Blake for the role? Fought him.
What?
They wrestled each other, and then because Robert Blake didn't throw a punch afterwards, Peters hired him. He's like, hey, I was just testing you to see how out of control you were.
Was John Peters like a big guy? I wonder, like, he's beaten up to
No.
5'1" former child star.
Yeah, he must not be if he thought it was going to be like a fair fight
I
and
guess
like
so.
just see how he reacted. Like if he was huge, it just looked like a
I
psychopath.
like how you're backing up John Peters. Like, nah, John wouldn't do that. Okay?
Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
I know John. All right? He was a hairdresser turned producer.
They're both.
He is?
Yeah, no, that's true. The
Yeah.
movie Shampoo with Warren Beatty was based on John Peters.
Oh, okay.
About what do you call a Lothario hairdresser who's
Yeah.
straight. That was
Yeah.
John Peters.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say?
Does
Oh
a
yeah,
straight person refer to themselves as a Lothario?
is Lothario when you have sex?
I don't know
a
what
lot?
was that like a real man whore?
I don't know.
I think so.
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll table that one.
A gay
Yeah.
man whore, I would think.
Okay, well, Deados, what do you think?
Yeah,
Let us
I'm
know.
a fucking Lothario.
Oh, here we go. All right, let's move on before we get.
But imagine those two fighting if they were both diminutive guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have looked like Peter Dinklage wrestling Willow.
These two crew guys are like, we're gonna stop this? Nah, man, it's too much fun.
Taking out the popcorn.
Yeah.
Then, just a few years later, he ends up teaming up with none other than David Lynch for one of his, most unique roles, most remembered roles from Lost Highway.
And Robert Blake looking like a vampire from hell.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of rolls up to him and just starts spitting some game.
He looks like a vampire who scares other vampires.
Yeah. He looks like the weirdest vampire out there.
He makes Bela Lugosi uncomfortable.
Yeah. He deals coke to other vampires.
And the clip starts out with an interview with Blake on set.
Yes, it's a very striking clip because if you don't realize that he's doing an interview, it's very weird because he's talking as himself and he looks like a fucking lunatic. So
Yeah.
be prepared, everybody. Here we go.
I don't want to go play another cop. I don't want to do all that junk. I've wasted 99% of my life in front of the box doing nonsense.
The box.
So it's nice to feel like an artist and to be around
He
artists
looks
and work
insane.
on that level.
This looks like a scene from Things We Do in the Shadows or something.
We've met before, haven't we?
I don't think so. Where was it you think we met?
My heart rate went up.
At your house, don't you remember? As a matter of fact, I'm there right now.
Call me.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, he calls him. He's like, "Hi, I'm at your house." Very chilling.
Told you I was here.
Yeah, not David Lynch's best movie, but I liked it.
It's got segments that are fantastic. Like that
Yeah.
one, that scene. And, the soundtrack Kyle mentioned, amazing with 9 Inch Nails and David Bowie.
And Smashing Pumpkins. I think Billy Corgan did everything on that.
The cinematography, outstanding.
Yeah.
The plot is incoherent.
Of course. Well, that's it. Most of his movies, though, it's very close to being incoherent.
David Lynch, yeah, exactly. David Lynch said that Robert Blake told him, I didn't understand any of it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, he's in that interview saying it's good to be a part of film again.
Yeah. I know. I like how he says, I wasted most of my career with nonsense. And he's talking about Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most nonsensical movie.
Yeah.
It's good to be around things I don't fully understand.
Yeah. Like my own rage.
And another side note is Natasha Gregson Wagner is in that movie.
And Flagrante.
Hey.
Pretty much. She goes topless.
Yeah, she does. Her and Balthazar Getty, who is heir to the Getty family fortune of the Getty Museum and all that jazz with the story about it was uncle. His dad actually is the one who got kidnapped, and John Paul Getty, his father, would not pay up right away.
All the money in the world family?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's his dad, and his dad got addicted to drugs afterwards and became a paraplegic, but still gave birth to Balthazar Getty.
Huh.
Wow. So in his marriage and love life, right? In 1964, he married actress Sandra Kerry, and they had 2 children, Noah and Delina.
Hey there, Delina.
Yeah.
Delina.
Not Delilah, Delina.
Oh.
They divorced in 1983, and then he spent 17 years playing the field, I would imagine. And
what does that look like?
Not good.
Is he on the dating apps? With that picture from Lost Highway?
Yeah, he's doing the 900 numbers, leaving voicemails. Don't you remember
me?
me?
He's just cold calling girls.
As a matter of fact, I'm at your house right now. I'm in your pants
What are
right
you doing?
now.
What are you doing Tuesday?
The call's coming from inside the house. In 2000, he wed Bonny Lee Bakley, with whom he had a daughter named Rose.
Bakley.
Bakley.
Oh, I thought you said Bagley.
Bakley.
Oh, I thought it was Bake.
Ed Bakley Jr.
So it's crazy. I don't know how much he knew about her before they got married, but it turns out she was up to some shady things. She was kind of like a black widow.
A grifter.
Yeah.
She would kind of bleed people dry. We don't have an official number of how many people she married beforehand. It's anywhere between like 9 and 19. I've seen those numbers. So, whew. And so she burned a lot of people.
Like unsuspecting guys that like, hey, maybe I'll just date this girl.
Always someone with money, obviously. She always had an angle, and she always got out of it with a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
And she was obsessed with finding a famous rich guy to marry. A famous guy, though, because she was even hitting on Dean Martin. But when Dean Martin...
Would he even know what was going on?
Yeah, when he was in, his declining years in the 90s.
Would he wear the big glasses?
Yeah.
Did he look crazy?
In the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And then she was courting him, and then he died. So she didn't have a chance to marry him.
Oh, my God.
He was like, I gotta go.
But then, before she married Robert Blake, apparently she was dating Marlon Brando's son, Christian Brando, right?
And she was probably dating Marlon Brando, too.
He kind of sounds like In Cold Blood guy a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I talk like this.
Capote.
Capote.
You Capote and The Godfather.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Make him an offer he can't refuse. But yeah, she's kind of similar to me. It seems like it's kind of like Phil Hartman's wife, where she's kind of dating these other people in Hollywood, and she's just trying to hitch her, caboose to like someone very famous or something, who's got a lot of money, who can actually help her career maybe. But it seems like she doesn't want help with her career. She just really wants money.
No, I don't think she had any aspiration for a career. As
A
far as
little
I know.
bit.
Oh, really?
From what I know, she had no discernible talent. But she
Well, who does in this town?
She had recorded a song before.
Oh, okay.
And she was modeling, so she had a lot of random photos.
Yeah.
You know, and I think she did a little bit of softcore porn.
Really?
But don't quote me on that. And then she got into credit card fraud. She would steal people's credit cards.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, a ton. Like, she left a trail of destruction and chaos.
That's a straight up criminal enterprise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, say what you will about marrying a guy and then, like, finagling it. I mean, that's just working the legal system, in my opinion. But when you're actually stealing people's credit card numbers, like, that's
I think
not
LA
good.
LA is the base. It's like, you know, what grunge music it was to Seattle in the 90s, like grifters is to Los Angeles always.
It's
just,
the place for it.
yeah,
It's true.
A lot of, you know, small time crooks and just hustlers are out here, you know?
Yeah.
And they met at a jazz club,
Yes.
which is where Bob Crane used to frequent.
Yeah.
Remember he would drum in these jazz clubs
Yeah.
and then find women to have sex with.
Yeah.
And then him and, what was his buddy's name? Willem Dafoe's?
Carpy.
Carpy, yeah. Him and Carpy would
Carpe Diem.
pull some.
Carpy be swinging a tripod around.
Yeah, he's got a boom mic over Bob Crane having sex with some girl. Yeah, while he's jerking off.
He's got the tripod up his ass.
He's the sound guy. He's the audio-visual guy. You know, he's a cinematographer, Carpy. He's a man of many trades.
So this is that same scene, but 20 years later.
Yeah.
So Robert Blake is hot off a Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Probably got a big hat. He's like, "Did you see me on Tom Snyder the other day?"
At 1:35 a.m.
God, and picks up this Bonny Lee Bakley, whatever the
But
hell.
he must be back. You know, that's what happens. You know,
The bitch is back.
The bitch is back. The Blake is back.
Yeah, so, I mean, and what you were saying before was that she was pitting Brando and Robert Blake against each other almost because she got pregnant and told Brando that it was his kid. And did she tell Blake that it was his kid?
Both of them, yeah.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, she's getting these two people
All riled up.
Yeah, exactly.
At each other, yeah.
Yeah. And didn't Brando not want to have it?
Well, he wasn't sure, but he definitely wanted to know if it was his kid or not. And she wouldn't tell him, but she wanted him to think that it was his kid, obviously. But she went as far as to name the kid Christian.
Wow.
Even though...
like Junior.
Yeah,
Jr.
basically.
Yeah.
But it was, of course, Blake's kid, it turned out.
Did they end up doing a DNA test?
Yeah, it's his
oh,
kid.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that
she's
sounds like a crazy Maury Povich right there.
But he was pissed off because one of Blake's assistants overheard Christian Brando one time saying somebody ought to put a bullet in her head.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds like that might have happened.
I think on many times he's confessed to this murder.
Yeah.
He must have saw a shooting star that night.
Yeah. He saw a star shooting. We do have a taped phone call that Bonnie would often do to people. She would record phone calls and then try to put them in predicaments, trying to get them to admit to horrible things so she could blackmail them. And this was a taped phone call between her and Robert Blake.
Oh, my.
So her friend said that if you were talking to Bonnie on the phone, you were being recorded. That's how often she did it.
Like,
and
how does that even, the mechanics of that working? Like,
especially in the 90s.
Yeah.
It
You need
took
like
a
a
lot
whole
more.
setup.
Yeah. To set up this phone call, she's trying to set Robert Blake up like he wants to sell the baby for money.
Yeah, it's intense. What an accusation.
why would he need to do that? He's got $20 million.
You know, you told me about those people that wanted to, you know, buy the baby for $100,000. Like,
What people? What baby? What are you talking about?
so I'm just telling you, you know, what I know. And
What I
you know, I
know?
was like thinking it over, and you know, like, but I didn't have time to think.
What you're talking about?
Well, I was all stressed out, and I didn't have time to think about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The baby, you said that the.
I would never sell my child. What are you, crazy?
Well, then.
Nuts?
Well, why'd you ask me then to do it?
I never asked you, Jack. What?
Okay, never mind. Forget it.
You are really getting weird.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, you got to question somebody when they make Robert Blake seem normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe
he's the voice of reason in the conversation.
Yeah, whether or not he was involved with what we're gonna end up talking about, I believe that he never fucking said he wanted to sell the kid.
No way.
Not a
Yeah,
chance.
I don't believe that. I don't think he's a good guy, but I don't think he ever talked about that.
Yeah,
She was using that. She wanted collateral in case she ever needed to extort money from him.
exactly.
But there's nothing there. There's
Yeah.
no there.
Yeah. So in May 2001, Blake made headlines when his second wife, Bakley, was shot to death while waiting in a car outside a restaurant where the couple had just dined. Not only a car, it was their car. And there's a lot of weird things that came into play with this. The restaurant is named Vitello's. It's in Studio City, right down the street. It was their favorite restaurant. And I was there multiple times before I realized that this is where all this shit went down.
Yeah. You're like, the pasta here is really good. I wonder why.
Because for some reason, like when this happened, I was in high school, and I remember, like, I didn't really know Robert Blake. I just knew, like, the Phil Spector and Robert Blake thing kind of happened close to each other.
Yeah.
You weren't a fan of the Kennedy TV movie?
Yeah. So I just assumed that the shooting happened at their house.
And they went there so often they actually had a dish named after Robert Blake.
They did.
Called Fusilli a la Robert Blake.
Get out of it.
Corkscrew pasta in garlic oil, spinach, and fresh tomatoes.
They should have just called it corkscrew gubitosi. That would have been way better. But apparently what happened was this. And their house, by the way, is less than a mile. It's 0.75 miles away. 3/4 of a mile, if you will.
Walkable.
Wow.
Yeah. So runnable. Apparently what happened is they ate at the restaurant and were walking back to their car about a block and a half away.
Okay.
That's already weird to me because you're a famous guy. You had to call to make reservations. Why don't you call and say, hey, kid, throw your keys at him, park my car, and I'll let you know when I'm leaving.
Yeah.
In L.A., though, in Studio City, I don't find it that strange to park a couple blocks away.
Or when you're like calling ahead, being like, hey, put a cone in the street and I'll pull up right to the front.
Well, he's got $20 million. He thinks he's a hotshot again. I think he wouldn't be parking a couple blocks away.
Okay.
Yeah, you would think like it's a part of the whole prestige.
What is
It's a
this?
part of the,
This on Ventura?
This is on one of the canyon roads, I believe.
I'm just playing devil's advocate that around Studio City I've had to walk plenty of blocks. I'm not Robert Blake, though.
But this is 2001. Maybe it wasn't as congested as it is now. Like right now, it's like crazy over there. There's like
there's a lot of
homeless
shops and
encampments
stuff.
and shops.
Yeah. It's on Tahunga.
Tahunga. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I know where that is. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you usually can get a spot right up front there.
Okay, so you're saying he intentionally parked a ways away.
But there's valet also there.
Yeah.
Do we know that? Do we know that this restaurant had valet?
Wait a second.
Let's put a twist into it.
What?
Because we do know that, in fact, Vitello's, I was driving by the other day, Vitello's does have valet. What we don't know is...
Exhibit
Hold
A
on,
here.
we go. We'll get there. Yeah, here we go.
We got the smoking sign over
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
So I was driving by when I was going to work the other day, and this fucking sign was there, and it blew my mind. I need to contact someone at Vitello's to find out if they installed a valet or started doing valet after this situation.
No one working there is going to know anything about 2001. Like, yeah, I moved here 2 years ago, buddy. I
was
don't
like,
know.
hey, I'm 19.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Robert who?
Yeah.
And then Kyle keeps trying, Lost Highway.
The Little Rascals, you know?
Yeah, I was too young for Robert Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who knows? That could have happened after, all this went down. But the craziest thing is that they're eating there. They go to leave. They go to their car a block and a half away. When they get to the car, Robert realizes that he doesn't have his gun on him. And that's a big deal because he was carrying his gun to and fro because they were being threatened because there are a whole bunch of people saying, Bonnie, we're going to fucking kill you for stealing our money. And so that's between 9 and 19 angry men who had been jilted and credit cards stolen.
That's a sequel to 12 Angry Men?
Yeah. 9 to 19 Angry Men.
Dean Martin's zombie is wheeling himself towards them.
Yeah.
Robert Blake, though, was telling friends at that time that he swear he saw a black Mercedes on his tail.
Yeah.
He kept seeing it around and thought it was chasing him.
Well, I mean, this town is full of black Mercedes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
gotta see what you want.
I think he's like, he learned some lessons from Bonnie, maybe, like how to set up plausible deniability for the lie that you're going to plant.
Yeah.
How are you not paranoid married to Bonnie?
Yes. And I think the walls are closing in on her and him. And he's like, I got to do something. Like, this woman is trying to ruin me.
Yeah.
Literally trying to ruin him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this gun he took everywhere. And
His Beretta, if you will.
yeah, he wanted to kill the goons.
He's like, hey, I'm Beretta, and I got one, too.
Wait, I don't.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, like, it's not like Chris Hemsworth carries around his, what is it, this mallet or hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thor's hammer.
I imagine if Vitello's he's eating the pasta with the gun around it. He's just looping it around it.
The tomatoes keep falling off.
He's cutting his veal with the gun in his head.
Pointing at the menu.
Monsieur, we would appreciate if you did not. It's a French restaurant.
Yeah.
He scratches his nose with it.
Yeah. He wipes his mouth with his ziti. Yeah.
So he wants to kill the goons that are looking to kill him and his wife. He tells her, you know what? Wait in the car. I'm so concerned about you being murdered, but let me leave you alone 2 blocks away. I got to run and get my gun.
And he leaves it there like it's his wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you don't forget a gun.
No.
No.
Not when you're at this level of stress, being followed and being threatened constantly.
But it does seem like a perfect situation to show the gun has an alibi now.
Yeah.
And so does he.
Yeah. It just so happens, while he's gone on his little saunter to get his gun, that his wife was murdered in the car that he left her in.
In cold blood.
In cold blood. In cold blood.
In cold blood.
Just like the putty.
How about that?
Yeah. So what's crazy about this, other than all of the circumstances.
Besides everything we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop the presses. Now it's about to get crazy.
Yeah, let's turn on the crazy button now.
There's not one person who was at Vitello's, either working or dining, that said they saw him come back for the gun. Not one person witnessed him come back to the restaurant. A very crowded restaurant, by the way, on a Friday night. Not one person testified that he came back.
So he wants us to take his word for it, or the jury or whoever is hearing this bullshit story.
Yeah.
And that would be unforgettable. If he looked anything like his Lost Highway persona.
Yeah, when he was dressed in all that leather and shit.
Baby powder on his face.
Imagine you having a slice of pizza and then he comes, hey, can you move a little bit? My gun's underneath your chair.
Yeah.
You would remember that.
Yeah, can you move your kid's booster seat? My gun's underneath
Because that's the thing, like, if the gun's on the table, there would be a waiter or waitress, like, bussing it.
Yeah.
And if not, someone would have seen him pick a gun up off a table or, like, a fucking couch or whatever.
You're not going to miss Beretta, picking up a gun out of an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, and it's Beretta. You know what I mean? Like, it just fits. Again,
You
like
can't miss him.
if Chris Hemsworth ran in, hey, where's my hammer? Everyone would remember that.
This little 5'1" guy that looks like a vampire coke dealer, you're not going to miss this guy.
Yeah.
If he's definitely going to get his gun.
The only thing that was attested to was that Robert Blake's neighbor, Sean Stanek, testified that Robert showed up to his place slamming on his door, screaming for help, saying Bonnie was beat up, and that, quote, they were mugged or something, end quote.
What?
Yeah. Their neighborhood was almost a mile away, which means he ran or got a ride to the neighborhood right after this shooting happened.
But where, I don't know, just to play devil's advocate here, where else would you go? Like
Back to the restaurant to be like, somebody fucking help now. Is there a doctor in the house?
That's true.
Call 911.
Yeah.
You run further away. You're a block and a half away from a phone. You're going to run all the way to your neighbor's house and be like, my wife is beat up.
Yeah.
It is convenient that he went to find his gun, so he conveniently didn't have to describe any. He wasn't like a witness to it.
Yeah.
You know, so he didn't have to give a description of the killer.
Yeah. But he also told his neighbor that they were mugged. He was not there when it happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
what
weird
if he
stuff.
got someone else to shoot Bonnie for him?
I think you're getting warmer.
Okay.
I think that is most likely what happened. But here's the 911 call from the neighbor here.
My name is Sean Stanek. So, do you know who the actor Robert Blake is?
Yes.
Why do they open with that?
And he's
Yes.
screaming severely. I know him from the neighborhood here.
Okay.
Get an ambulance.
She's conscious.
Is she conscious, Robert? No. She's not conscious.
Is she breathing?
Is she breathing? Yeah, they're coming. They're coming.
No, she's a mile away. Like, what?
And I like
What is
how,
going on?
Hey, you know Robert Blake?
Yeah, do you know the actor Robert Blake?
Like,
I'm
what?
wasting valuable breath here.
And then he introduces himself. He's like, I'm Sean Stanek.
You may
Yeah.
know me from absolutely nothing, but my
Yeah.
name's Sean Stan.
Here's my headshot.
Yeah. Here's Bonnie's headshot.
Oh, it's her
Oh,
head.
Whoa.
Headshot. All the way up it.
Oh, yeah.
Take my wife, please.
Please. So, Mr. Gubitosi / Robert Blake, he swore he was innocent throughout the entire investigation.
Mr. Gubitosi, Mr. Bob Gubitosi. We haven't brought that one back in a while.
Wow, that's an original right
A
there.
blast from the past.
Mr.
Yeah.
Gubitosi, Mr. Bob
No
Gubitosi.
pun intended, a blast.
Yeah. After a year, the police arrested him and his bodyguard in connection with the murder.
The bodyguard, too.
Yeah. The Kevin Costner of the situation.
Wow.
Yeah. A highly scrutinized trial followed with allegations from the defense that Bakley had a history of defrauding people and was murdered by the very people she fucked over with an axe to grind. The prosecution said Blake had tried to hire stuntmen to orchestrate the killing, but after 2 guys backed out, he did the killing himself. And I think that's where the prosecution messed up, because I don't think he did it. I think he hired someone, and the second he got away, they were already there, they knew, and they got rid of her.
For sure, because the gun didn't match. His gun is not the
100%.
murder weapon.
Yes.
And he wasn't there for it. He went back to Vitello's.
Yes, the gun that he said he got back at Vitello's does not match the bullets that were inside her body, and not one gun that he owned matched any of the bullets that were inside the body. So
But
that's
that-
good planning if he actually did
It
that.
is, yeah. And it's like, I guess his defense is, why would I get another gun? Why don't I just kill my wife with the gun I have? You're like,
Yeah.
so you can get away with it? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Blake was also interviewed by Barbara Walters and proclaimed his innocence, the clip of which was shown during the trial.
Wow.
And I don't know how this helped him.
His lawyer at the time, Tom Mesereau, who later left the case to defend Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he strongly advised Blake not to do this interview.
Wow. That guy is crushing the legal system.
And crushing souls.
Yeah. And he must have made millions over, like,
For sure.
He just cleaned millionaire murderers out.
Yeah, and rapists.
Yeah.
Child rapists.
Oh, boy.
Tell us what you really think.
Yeah.
And in this
Let's start,
interview,
John.
he talks about the daughter situation as well. Because he changed the daughter's name from Christian to Rose, by the way.
Yeah.
Rosebud.
Oh, you're a boss.
Sean, give me an idea of when you're ready to go.
No question, you're the boss.
Robert, are you innocent?
Of course. Well, of course I'm innocent. Of course I'm innocent.
What if you are found
All right,
guilty?
that
What are they going to
convinced
do
me.
to me?
All right, let's go
What
home.
are they going to
Let's
do
wrap
to me
it
that
up
they
here.
haven't done already? They took away my entire past. They took away my entire future. What's left for them to take? You going to take my testicles and make earrings out of them?
Whoa.
Whoa, hey.
Why
This
do you
isn't
want
Tom
to say
Snyder.
this,
Relax
Bakley?
here,
What
buddy.
does she mean to you? What did she mean to you?
The daughter.
You're not serious.
Well, this is a baby that you
No.
were not sure was yours.
This was my baby.
You just knew that.
This was my daughter. I knew. Of course I knew that. Of course I knew that. See, you think I'm a monster too?
No,
That I can't
Robert,
pick up
I
my own
wasn't
baby
saying
and know
that.
that she's mine?
No, Robert.
It's like he's right out of the Elephant Man.
You think I'm a monster? I'm a human being. They're both not real human beings. It's just weird to watch like that type of like
interaction.
Yeah, it's like a.
They don't have.
They're both acting.
Yeah.
Not true like real emotions as people.
They're not normal people.
Yeah, that looks weird.
They're on another level.
Yeah, yeah.
That is yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, normally not good to give such an interview while you're wearing orange pajamas.
Yeah, for real.
But he orchestrated this whole thing. Maybe he knew better.
I mean, these guys know how to work the media, apparently.
Yeah.
He knew how to work the jury, apparently, because in March 2005, 4 years after this murder, Blake was acquitted of the murder charge, as well as 1 count of soliciting murder. So he was charged with 3 things. He was charged with the actual murder and 2 counts of soliciting murder. The jury was deadlocked on a second murder solicitation charge, but after he was acquitted of the other 2, the judge just dismissed the third. So, like, he didn't have to go back to trial for that.
Nice.
Wow. Nice.
And Noah Blake, his son, in a later interview said, "Thank God for OJ."
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So meaning
Walk
like
so he could run.
Setting the precedent of a celebrity getting acquitted
Yeah.
for obvious murder.
Yeah. 8 months later, a jury in civil court found Robert Blake was liable for the murder and ordered him to pay $30 million in damages to Bakley's children. After Robert appealed the case, the damages were cut in half. So he owed 15 now, which is still good luck.
It's a hefty chunk of change. Yeah. Well, he should do like OJ and just incorporate down in Florida so you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
Another parallel where OJ lost the civil trial.
Yeah, everyone loses a civil trial. I guess the bar is a lot lower for the civil trial.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He filed for bankruptcy right after the $15 million fee.
Of course.
Cut in half,
He's not going
whatever.
to pay that.
Yeah.
And Kyle, didn't you say that he was jealous of Phil Spector?
Majorly jealous of Phil Spector because they both had their things happen around the same time, and he was like railing to Pierce Morgan, being like, he got to go home during his trial. I was locked up like an animal. And it's like, well, you were acquitted and Phil Spector was found guilty.
Yeah.
He died in prison, and you're still jealous that he got to like kick up and relax for the trial.
I feel like Robert Blake is angry at the world.
Oh, yeah,
Angry.
absolutely. Yeah.
He's like a 5'1" guy, Napoleonic complex, all that stuff. And he just was angry at everyone. The system did him wrong.
Yeah, and
he's going to get his revenge.
And
the media, the police,
his parents,
everyone
his
fucked
dad,
him over.
yeah. He still was mad at his dad.
He also says there is some news stories that his parents could have been sexually abusive to him also.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
And maybe if his dad killed himself, maybe that's, maybe a reason.
Yeah. In 2012, he went on to Pierce Morgan to promote his self-published memoir, Tales of a Rascal. I think it was self-published. I think we talked about it before that he was trying to get away from the OJ experience, where OJ actually signed a deal with a publisher if I did it, and then the Goldmans were able to take those that book over, and every sale went to them.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only way they actually got any money from him, because he never paid them. Crazy.
Yeah.
He appeared on Pierce Morgan Tonight, and Morgan questioned the actor about Bonnie, and he goes off. He was like, she's a con artist, and she had people that she burned. I didn't write a book about her. I wrote it about me.
Oh, my God.
Goes crazy. I'll show you a clip here and show you how unhinged he actually gets.
And in the clip...
Wait, because we just saw him very unhinged, so I can imagine.
This is worse.
Barbara Walters, that was like tea time.
Yeah, that's fucking... Yeah, Teletubbies over there.
And in this clip, he's wearing sleeveless chaps and a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
What?
He looks insane.
Do you believe
Am I still understand? No, I'm teasing. Go ahead.
I understand. I want to get to the truth if I can.
To the truth, if you can, be careful.
Was Bonnie...
I want you to be careful, because sometimes that guy in the ear tends to insult me a little bit. You want to get to the truth if you can. Does that mean I'm lying to you?
I'm not saying you're lying.
But you're saying you don't know if I'm telling the truth. What the
Crocodile
hell's the
Dundee
difference?
over here.
My skin is a little bit
You
thin.
think that's a murder?
Which is why I stay away from people mostly.
I've never allowed anybody to ask me the questions that you're asking.
Showed a lot of
I'm asking
skin
questions
here,
about
Robert.
what I presumed to be a very important moment in your life. You've written a book about your life.
I
which
written
you
a
don't
book
go into
about
the
my
detail.
life. I didn't write a book about that night, and I didn't write a book about Bonnie. You're starting to look silly.
Says the guy in the cowboy hat and
Because it's stupid.
sleeveless shirt.
You're not getting any place because there's no place to get. You're just like the cops. I would go out to dinner with her to kill her. What the matter with you?
I didn't say you killed.
This interview seems like it's
You didn't
directed
say
by
I
David
didn't.
Lynch also. Maybe the rest of his life is directed by David Lynch after Lost Highway.
Yeah, it is absolutely unhinged. If anybody wants to go on YouTube, look up the Piers Morgan interview with Robert Blake. There's like
I'm not out of order. This whole network's out of order.
6 chapters of it. It's fascinating to watch.
And at the end, Piers Morgan is like, I didn't say you killed her. And he's
Yeah.
like, but you didn't say I didn't.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm not a witness for you. I'm asking you questions.
like-
Like, Piers Morgan can be an asshole and he can be like super biased, but in this interview, he did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
He's like always in the middle of shit these days.
Yeah.
He's heavily involved with Trump and stuff. So
Yeah.
Robert Blake was just, unhinged in every appearance.
I think he tried to intimidate you before you intimidated him. I think that he was aggressive just because he anticipated someone was going to start messing with him.
Yeah. So he like went full off, super irate and incoherent. He was calling Morgan a liar and just railing against the police who he quote says, "Ripped my guts out and left me beside the road to die."
What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
They left me in a cement box for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of in front of the box, that's what I did my whole career. 99% of it. I hated it.
And he always talked in rhymes and riddles.
Yeah, he does.
With a kind of aggressive poetry.
Yeah.
Because he calls Piers Morgan Charlie Potatoes.
Yeah, eventually he kind of lightens up and he goes, "All right, ask your questions, Charlie Potatoes."
Did he assume he's Irish then? Like that's what he's thinking?
I wouldn't put any logic into what he's
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
And after he was acquitted, he did an interview with Barbara Walters again.
Yeah.
And in that one, he says that I went from Saddam Hussein to Seabiscuit.
Whatever that means.
In terms of what?
And then Barbara.
Don't think about it too hard.
I think that's the plan though, to confuse people, which they're still thinking about that crazy line you just said.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to move forward.
And Barbara told him, "You do have a way with words."
Yeah.
Got away with a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a clip of his last interview ever, and he's still,
He's well adjusted and he's gotten over everything.
He still got it. Yeah.
Yeah. No sarcasm there. Yeah. See for yourself.
To this day, I hate him. I'm still here. You bastards. I'm still here. I didn't die in that box.
Talking about the cops.
Yes.
I thought he was talking
You
about
got it?
death and
I'm still
entertainment.
here. I'm 85 years old. I'm beat up all to hell and gone, but I'm still here, and you're still pounding a beat. Smoke that.
Smoke that,
Smoke
Jack.
that, Jack.
Yeah, like
Anyway.
if it was a movie, that's the moment it would cut to the ending credits.
How you like me now?
Yeah, man. So he, lived the rest of his life until early this month, March 9th, he passed away. And who knows if he actually did it. My final thought, my gut instinct is that I think he orchestrated and paid for it. I don't think he actually did it. But I mean, he had a lot on the line. If she tried to divorce him, he already knew that she was like saying crazy shit like, "You wanted to sell the baby."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Remember the person you said would buy the baby for $100,000? And he's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And she goes, "I'm just telling you what I know." That's not a realistic response to that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I know because you know something you heard. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe she's thinking of like plugging in something, or she's setting up some big intricate lie or something with
Yeah.
other people. But also, I was gonna say with that, imagine the stuff that we haven't heard. That maybe she had some real stuff on him.
Yeah.
Oh,
was
I
like
bet.
legit because he has a history. Like
Back to the Little Rascals days.
he used to deal coke and heroin and stuff, like in his 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
And like he had a bad history overall.
Yeah.
He was a messed up guy, and I think
Jeez.
there was something there. Maybe he got drunk one night and spilled some crazy things.
Maybe.
Right. And at the center of the trial, there were two stuntmen that were supposedly the men that he hired to kill her.
Yeah.
And they were Whiz Kid McClarty and Duffy Hamilton.
I wonder if he knows WizKid Donnie from Magnolia.
Right.
Or Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah. And they're both like grizzled stuntmen from the old days.
Yeah.
One of them did stunts in the Blues Brothers.
Oh, wow.
John
2000s?
Landis. No.
I was gonna say that must have been a crazy job though. Like,
oh yeah,
every car blew up in that movie.
Yeah, ducking helicopters.
They blew up a gas station for a deleted scene.
Yeah, that's
ducking
insane.
helicopters.
Helicopter. Yeah, it got worse in Landis Productions.
I'll never understand stuntmen. Like, they do some crazy stuff for
Yeah.
like $20.
Yeah.
And then the defense actually had a theory that those two stuntmen, they were known to be friends with Christian Brando. And then there was this other guy named Mark Jones who was a transient handyman and a meth addict. In fact, they all did meth.
Yeah.
And so he was known to have a Walter P-38, which is the murder weapon that killed Bonny Bakley. And there's a witness that was able to identify that Duffy Hamilton was looking for this Mark Jones fellow one day, the handyman. And so a month after the murder of Bonny Bakley, this transient handyman, Mark Jones, killed himself.
Oh.
Wow.
And at this point,
Very convenient.
Christian Brando died in 2009 of pneumonia. The stuntmen are dead.
Yeah.
Duffy Hamilton, I wasn't able to confirm, but I heard he's also dead. So that means there's no living player anymore.
This
in
is
the
like
saga.
This is like the end of Goodfellas, the Lufthansa heist. Where
Yeah.
everyone gets found dead.
Yep. That's it.
So
Everybody
we'll-
got fucking whacked.
I mean, we'll never know, but it sounds like our final thoughts is he hired somebody.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's my gut, and I'm sticking to it.
And you're never going to find out who it is because they are not going to be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I did that. You know?
Yeah.
It's never gonna, there's never going to be a deathbed confession or anything.
Because they're all dead already.
Yeah, they're deados.
Yeah.
They missed their chance.
Yeah. And you could be a deado too if you sign up for
That's our
patreon.com/death entertainment.
Our smooth transition into the
We are live. If you
Patreon.
want to support the show, $10 or $5. Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, we could set up a $15 one if you want to do it. But support the show if you want. We don't do ads here. Come on. Give us some shekels, and we'll hook you up with some extra bonus footage and a whole bunch of stuff. We already have things there waiting for you.
I want to add in a couple of final thoughts.
Yes.
Comedian Jimmy Kimmel made a comment at this last Academy Awards a couple weeks ago here that was deemed inappropriate and insensitive about Robert Blake. After the actor's recent death, on the topic of whether or not Blake should be included in the annual in memoriam montage, Kimmel said, "Everyone, please get your phones out. It's time to vote, even at home. If you think Robert Blake should be included in the in memoriam montage, text 'Gimme a Blake' to the number on your screen or any number."
Ho, ho, ho.
Hilarious, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, Noah Blake publicly said that the joke landed with a thud.
Oh, yeah.
And I have an update on daughter Rose.
Okay.
Who was raised by Robert Blake's other daughter, Delina.
Yes.
Hey there,
Rose
Delano.
met up with her father in 2019.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first time she saw him since the trial.
Wow.
Yeah, so she did not know him growing up or ever. And she wanted to just hear about her childhood and her mom and see some photos. And she deliberately told him, I do not want to know anything about that night.
Wow.
So, but she seems to be well-adjusted considering.
I would only want to know about that night.
She doesn't want to know.
Wow.
But she seems like a very nice girl. She's about 20 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So, well, whatever. It's hard to put yourself in her shoes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because that is some family drama.
You think?
I really do think.
From her mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have my own Robert Blake Geener.
Oh, boy.
When asked if he wanted to get married again, Blake said, I'll give it a shot.
Hello!
Oh, my God.
Mic drop.
That goes on for a very long time.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And then before we close out, I have a little mailbag here.
Hello.
Mailbag it up.
We got about the bridge episode. Sarah Alyssa commented in response to us getting banned on YouTube, boo. And Michelle D said the podcast was hilarious as usual, and I thought it was particularly impactful when you mentioned that these poor souls were washed away in the ocean.
Yeah.
And that allowed the problem to be avoided. So basically, you know, when I said that if there was blood on the pavement, they would have had to deal with it more. But the ocean, the water just washed it away.
Fair.
And then Rye Dog said, that's the problem with mental illness. Not talking about it and ignoring the elephant in the room leads to poor decisions. Shame on YouTube for censoring mental illness discussion.
Amen.
And then Dana Plato, Checker222 said, great coverage, guys. Keep up the excellent work. Darren Hatfield wrote, another stellar show, boys. And regarding our Patreon, Gustav said, love the episode. And I think Patreon is a great deal.
Yes.
And then Religood11 said, running there now, when we posted that we have a Patreon.
And friend of the show, Sul155, had a nice comment. He said he loved the episode on Dana Plato, and he said, keep up the good work. And shout out to Sul155. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for listening, and those that signed up for the Patreon, and those that comment and continue to spread the word.
Yes. Spread the good word of Death and
Please.
Entertainment
Please.
to your friends, family, people you hate that you want to wish a bad podcast onto. Okay?
Yeah.
Anybody.
To the waiter who's that Italian restaurant you left the gun in.
Boom, boom, pow. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Arrivederci.
We love you. You know where to find us everywhere. Send us a death threat, deathandentertainment@gmail.com.
And until next week.
Don't go dying on us. Bye.
You have just heard
A true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.